Hey guys, welcome back to Flight Simulator. I'm Angel, and welcome to the smallest twin-engine aircraft you can fly as a person. This is the Columban Cri Cri, or the MC-15, built by ATSimulations for Flight Simulator 2020 as we fly past a wonderful piece of roof. Yes, your eyes don't deceive you. This is a manned aircraft, and it is tiny. Now, of course, the Cri Cri is the smallest kit plane you can build as a twin. It is probably one of the smallest twins you can get, and the ATSimulations version comes with 3 variants. We have the twin piston. That distinction will become important in a second. We have the twin float, also piston, and we have the twin turbojet. Yes, that exists and flies in real life. Now, designed in the 1970s by French designer Michel Columban, the Krikri could mean cricket, which is part of the French word for that, but we believe it's, the French term for the sound of a cricket is similar to Krikri, or as they will pronounce it. Now, it's also the name of one of his daughters, so I choose to believe he named it after his daughter, Christine, or Krikri. Cricket. You know, makes sense. So, tiny, but also quite powerful. Now, it has a crew of 1, a length of about 3.9 meters, 4.9 meter wingspan, a wing area of about 3.1 meters, and it has an empty weight of 78 kilograms, max takeoff of 170, so pretty light really. Powered by 2 JPX PUL 212 single cylinder piston engines providing 15 horsepower each. So we have a whopping total of 30, which after the last review is actually considerably more. Now its performance numbers are actually very good. It has about a max speed of 120 knots with a cruise of 100. Range is an impressive 250 nautical miles. With a ceiling of 12,500 feet, it's a very capable little twin. Not exactly like you can go far, but you can definitely go somewhere. So let's take a look inside. Oh, before we do, yes, those are flaperons, rather than having separated ones. So we'll go inside here, and we'll take a look at the cockpit. The texturing is beautiful. The quality of the aircraft build is incredibly impressive. I absolutely love this. Now we have the canopy lock here we have to open. And then we can open the door, I believe. Do I grab you? I don't know how it wants me to open this. But apparently that is how I open the door. This is my first time touching this aircraft, so I'm going to have some things wrong. Couldn't find a manual. There may be one. Wasn't in the actual sim folder, wasn't on my desktop, so we'll come back to that later. Now, engine starting, I have noticed a couple of little quirks from checking this out so far. And we've got that on. Put our beacon on if it has one. And we should, once I set our ignition to on, and give the engines a little tickle. It should want to start. I don't know why it doesn't. That is quite peculiar. Give it a spin. Goose the throttles. It doesn't seem to like it. I don't know why it does this, but it's got a very unique starter system. Oh, and it catches. Let's try 2. Ah, it caught. And it sounds like a lawnmower. So, let's get our parking brake off, and it will creep at low speed. We're here at Orbex's new concrete municipal, by the way, which is a tiny but pretty little PNW bus strip, and my god, this is annoying. Where's my way out? Is that it? That must be it. Looked around flight manuals, could not find one. Called concrete, municipal, or Mearsfield. So we'll give ourselves a little bit of takeoff flap here. The sound is incredibly irritating, but I think it's more the constant pitch. So ground handling is actually pretty nice on this model. I keep feeling I want to shout, even though I know I'll change the sound levels in post. I'm going to back taxi here. And get ourselves down to the end of the runway. It's good ground handling. Brakes, from what I've seen so far, are very good. Simple comm radio, and of course your simple instruments in the cockpit. So nothing too crazy here. Definitely a VFR aircraft. Okay, this should be enough runway space. Performance in the sim is incredibly good, but for a tiny little simple aircraft like this, I wouldn't expect anything less. Let's get it turned around. That is so annoying. I may find myself flying the jet just for an escape from the wine. Okay, here we go. Keep an eye on our speeds as we weave down the runway because I'm quite special. And we lift off. It is incredibly sensitive. Okay. I feel like I want to zoom out here actually to get a bit of perspective. Let's give it a little bit of trim just to kind of neutralize things out. So the aircraft flies incredibly easily. I'm just giving it a slight little bit of roll and a little bit of back pressure on the stick. And we come swinging round here. Feels very fast for what it is. And of course I'm going exclusively here off feeling, but it feels quick. Maybe because it's so small everything looks faster, which is probably more likely the truth. But those big flaperons, the entire thing's moving, so you've got a lot of wing surface area there for your controls, making it incredibly maneuverable. Going to bring the power down here. I love how the engine vibration changes as you throttle down. That's a very nice feature. Okay, there's our runway. Let's manage our speeds here. We'll come over the river and we'll turn around for a final. Once we've tried this one out, we'll go and grab the jet. The float version, I will take a look at in a moment as well. Okay, coming in for approach. We'll turn onto base. A very short base here. More of a U-turn, old school World War II era type pattern. But we are just testing. Line her up. Very, very, very roll sensitive with those large control surfaces. Whoa, hello. Got myself into a bit of a sachet there. Well, yeah, that's a very unusual control mechanic. It becomes incredibly sallowy as we made our approach. Not sure why that was, but the aircraft became incredibly wallowy and we ended up in a bit of an oscillation. I think it wants to come in with a bit more power than we had. So we'll go around one more time. We'll take a slightly longer approach here. See, roll incredibly sensitive. Don't know any Krikri pilots. That could be authentic. The little single piston engines are incredibly noisy, as are those exhausts pumping out right next to us. We'll take a slightly wider pattern this time and go out a little bit further just so we have a bit more room. But the aircraft is definitely sensitive. Very, very, very sensitive, in fact. More than I imagined. The roll oscillation was something I wasn't anticipating, but I wasn't about to commit to a landing with that. So we'll take this out a little bit wider this time. And we'll go in for a traditional box pattern. As I'm getting a little bit of sachet right now from not even applying any control input. Bring it out across the river here. This is certainly a unique handling. Again, never flown a Cri Cri. Most likely never will. Bring her around. Keep the airport in sight. Okay, turning onto final now. Very botched final. Little bit of rudder. Much less oscillation that time. Much straighter, much smoother. Little steeper approach. And we'll ease back on the stick. That was not my nicest, but we are down. It requires your full concentration, which for an aircraft this size is pretty exciting. I'll give it that. And we landed just in time here to make the turn off. So we'll be back with the jet to see how that differs. So this is the jet version here of the Krikri, powered by twin PBS VB TJ20 engines, providing 210 newtons of thrust. Very similar engines to the kind the guys with the flying wings use. Tiny but powerful. Inside controls very similar to the Piston version, but a lot quieter with this variant. Now, the jets are incredibly powerful. Let's take a look, shall we? I don't want any flaps for this. Let's go. Whoa! Jesus. Okay. That was... Oh, crap. Don't do that. Oh my god. Yep, we're still over the airport. That was powerful. I'm not sure how realistic that was, but we just almost took off like a helicopter. And the pitch is incredibly dicey with this. Oh boy. Okay, I'm throttling this back here because that was extreme. My only concern is it wants to fly very nose heavy, otherwise it wants to descend. Which is something I'm trying to compete with here. Because the engines seem to be very on-off. Lots of thrust or no thrust. As now I'm wallowing in a pitch seesaw. With the aircraft trying to climb. And I don't want to climb necessarily. Trying to trim it out here. The jets are insanely powerful. Trying to reduce pitch. As you can see, we're still here. It's crazy. And we're still in a climb. Coming up to about... There we go. So, trying to just ease back there. See, pitch control, very sensitive. Just at the roll. Obviously, with it being a tiny aircraft, it's much more difficult to fly. So small helicopters are more difficult than big ones. Okay. Looking good. About 1,200 feet from what I'm seeing here. Okay, nice steady cruise. And we're about 85 knots right now. Could increase speed, but I'm just going to keep it here for now because I'm terrified of this aircraft. Gonna head out to the island, turn around and make an approach in. Try and make this a much more stable one this time, so we'll just swing out a bit more. Give us some more room. That was the tiniest of touch there on my controls, and I changed heading dramatically. Although it's weird seeing the jet exhaust in front of you. It's like being in a pod racer, I think is the best description I can give this plane, the jet version. It is like flying a Star Wars pod racer. Because it feels like you need to be a Jedi to handle it. So we're doing about 65 knots right now indicated. Airport behind us. Go. Let's just pitch down a little bit. Okay. So controls. I believe that's our G meter there is actually in front of us. So there was me treating that like it was a vertical speed indicator when it's technically not. Okay, airport there. We're climbing, so let's start descending. Throttle back here. And the aircraft suddenly becomes a dog in the pitch. And begins to sink dramatically. Okay. We'll swing around here. There we go. Runway in sight. I feel like I need to make a much longer approach in this aircraft because of its strange handling. But, of course, I found the manual. Now, the manual contained a lot of history about the aircraft and descriptions of the panels and specifications, but there weren't any specific speeds I was given. So I'm going off feeling for this because I could not find an actual flight manual for the Krikri. So I'm mostly guesstimating to an extent here. Okay, we're a little bit off course, so I'm going to let myself get ahead of the runway and then turn in. Just a gentle roll onto heading. Feels like a Navy fighter approaching the deck of a carrier. Okay, reducing power. Keep her on heading here. Okay. Looking good. Call the ball. I had the ball. Approaching the deck of the Nimitz. That's what this feels like. We're sinking, need more thrust. Could have decided early with jets. Okay. Coming in. I'm not a big jet plane flyer myself, but we're starting to oscillate here. Come on, a little bit of rudder. Just behave yourself. This is white knuckle in this aircraft. I must say, it is way more of a handful than I ever expected to fly. If I can straighten this up now, that would be nice. Okay. I need to go and have a lie down. Yeah, if experimental aircraft are your thing, if the Krikri is something near and dear to your heart, a wonderful aircraft. Made really nicely by the developer, I'll give them that. It is a wonderfully made aircraft. Some performance numbers would have been nice in terms of what speeds I should be trying to go for takeoff and landing. Although for the jet, I believe takeoff speed, as indicated in the POH, is throttle go bruh. And yes. Takeoff, throttle, yes. That works. The Piston is a little bit more forgiving to fly. The seaplane version, I don't feel like I have enough... I don't feel like I have enough sweat left in my body to fly. It is certainly a... Go away. Thank you. It's a handful. It is an exciting handful, but a handful nonetheless. Huge control surfaces make it incredibly nimble, incredibly sensitive, and I believe taking off with the jet should be done at about half throttle, due to the fact this thing will rip you off the land like it owes you money. I'm going back inside, it's quieter. Would I recommend it? It cost me £11 or $14. A great price for something that looks fantastic and definitely will be a flying experience you'll never forget. And more so, definitely enjoyable. Now this, by the way, can't do it in the jet. but you can, in the Piston aircraft, set up a little tent beside the aircraft, which is wonderful. Link in the description for where to get this from. You can get it from ATSimulations website. I now need to go lie down, so thank you for watching. Bye!